All right, James.
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys?
What's up? What's up?
What's going
What's
on?
up, Cuddle? All right. So we are here live with the Max Me Out podcast, episode 3. Got a special guest on today, Miss Cuddle Core. How you doing,
Hi.
Cuddle?
I'm pretty good. How are you all?
Pretty good, pretty good. We're going to start by introducing ourselves to you. So I'm Inforcer, and we got next.
I'm Hotboyrob with you. I mean, I'm pretty sure she know me.
I do, yes.
And
Who we got next?
for everyone that doesn't know, Drago in the house.
That's what's up, bro. Yeah, man. So we got all our technical difficulties scrapped away. How's everybody's day today? Pretty good?
Oh, yeah.
It's
It's been a day, huh? It's been raining over here, I can tell you, in the southern area.
Yeah.
a lot of rain.
It's brought a lot of gloominess to my life, and I'm trying to lighten it up with this podcast. 'Cause it made my day, you know? So, yeah, man. We got Cuddle in the house, man. So, Cuddle, what's going on? How you been? You know, how you been? How's Tekken been?
Tekken's been fine. Even with like all the tournaments being canceled, I'm like, oh yes, that gives me a chance to train even more and study because because the thing is when there were tournaments back to back, you have some time, but honestly at that point some of the people I would train with and like watch videos with, they were like, honestly, if you know it by now, if you don't, at least it's a little information you can grasp, but it takes like time and muscle memory to like get that ingrained in your brain, saying something.
Absolutely. Man, this COVID has been nothing nice to any of us, right?
Oh, nah,
my
man.
God.
That COVID is like a whole head. Well, that plus everything else that's going on, but
everything else, yeah.
Level off into that. So I wanted to ask her. So how did you get your start? Like, when did you start playing Tekken?
A really long time ago, like when I was like probably like maybe between 3 and 5. Honestly.
What?
Oh wow!
Really?
I didn't know that.
Girl, that's amazing. Out the cradle playing Tekken. That's I can't beat that.
Because of my dad. My dad, he
was a Tekken head.
Yeah, and he's a gamer still, and so he would always play Tekken, and there's still such a charm to the old ones. I have all the Tekkens, and the music, the hit effects, the characters, and he would always play with me. And yeah, so I've always loved fighting games, and it's funny because I didn't just play Tekken. I actually play KOF, Virtua Fighter, Soul Calibur, and Mortal Kombat as well. And so I played all of them. It's just Tekken really made the most sense to me in the end as a competitive game because I played all of them. So I can say, I played all of them. But I just picked one that I was comfortable with because, aesthetically it just really, but I still appreciate all of them, the old ones.
Yeah.
I truly do. And Street Fighter also, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Capcom vs. SNK 2, iconic game for a reason.
Right. So playing all of them, you pretty much have an educated opinion on all of them, so you realized, Tekken's the main one that aesthetically and just mentally was more pleasing to you.
Yes, and that's the one I really just for me, I think even though I maybe didn't grasp the concept at the time, but it was the fact that with any option I knew I could move around it physically in the game. Compared to 2D games, I kind of have to deal with what's in front of me. And I think because of that, things like tiers really start mattering because if somebody has a better lockdown tool than I do, then I have no way around it. So I can't just pick who I want because I have to, but me, I always like I can pick Xiaoyu, I can pick Elisa, I can pick Michelle, I can pick June. I don't feel stressed right now because I know I could at least walk around or at least do some like a spin or a move. Like I didn't feel like
you didn't feel like you was in sand,
Exactly.
Right.
And I always praise the game for the those types of options. The fact that I can pick who I want and still
and still progress and still feel like you're doing something.
Yes.
Yeah. Adding on to that subject, I was wondering. So you've been playing the game for obviously a very long time. At what point did you get involved competitively with Tekken?
So competitively, I believe I started maybe like at the end of 2013, 2014. Because I believe that once I came back home,
Wait, so I don't mean to cut you off. So 2013, 2014, is that tag 2 or is that Tekken 6? That's tag 2, right?
Yeah, it's like it's tag. Yeah, it's tag. I definitely wasn't a Tekken 6 because I was like in middle school and high school for it. But college, my first year away, I came back because I ended up like it's too expensive. Art school was too expensive, so I had to come back to community college and go to school in the area.
That's very understandable.
Right.
Yeah. So what happened was I'm like, okay, well I have school. That's great. But I want something outside of it. I want something outside of my art that I can still bond with people with and socialize over. And gaming was still such a big part of my life. So I ended up meeting some really nice people through Facebook, like a Facebook page called the Chicago Tech and Land like group. And so we ended up like all meeting, and it was like this group of really nice young men that some of them are still my close friends to this day. And they would take me with them everywhere to like the locals and stuff. They were very kind to me. I was their sister. And it really made me feel less alone, you know, to game with people who loved the game just as much as me, but like I could still like it was definitely nice to socialize with people and not feel like, oh, well, I'm back at home now. I'm disappointed because I didn't get to continue out at this, you know, school. But no, they really made the transition actually a whole lot easier. And I became more competitive locally because of them, because they took me everywhere with them to compete. And that I started realizing like, oh my God, like, I love this. I love the drive. I love that every time I practice something, or if I don't know something, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing how this player is doing it. All right. So then I can like use that and start practicing and training and, you know, yeah.
Pretty much kind of emulate it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And nobody treated me differently either. And that's the thing. Nobody really treated me differently. And that was like the biggest thing for me. And that group, like I was considered a worthy adversary, and that was important.
That makes you even more competitive, right? So I want to say that definitely made you have more of a competitive nature, knowing that, okay, I got to, you know what, they own me, I got to get them back, you know, anytime back and forth. So you always had that, he killed me this time, but next time I'm going to figure out how to beat what he did to me.
And that's exactly what it is. That's the kind of person I am. I get really bloodthirsty in that way when I play.
I like that.
That's a good aspect to have, especially in the fighting game community, because if you don't have that drive, then you won't have any desire to get better.
Exactly.
Is there any offline around you, like that's close in the area?
Not really. I honestly go because I personally don't like driving deep into the city.
Right.
Yeah, my training partner Shadow, he is 50 minutes from me, so I lived there before all this happened. You know, I would lift to his house, and we spent like 6-7 hours training together.
That sounds like one of our boys.
It matters if it's something like I can spend 100 for that. Even if it's once a month, I can still spend 100. And if I need to, I can play him online. But I you know, the thing is, it's an investment in my career, and it's investment in my skill. And I think that really matters. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That kind of brings me to a question of like, so, you know, playing Tekken, we know that's definitely the main game you play, right?
Yeah.
That's probably all our main games, obviously. But that brings me to, you know, how many hours a day do you train? How many hours a day do you train, would you say, to be proficient in Tekken? I mean, what do you find? What's comfortable to you?
To be to be competent tournament-wise for Tekken is what you're saying. How many hours would you say? Yeah,
how many hours would you say you should train, or you train personally? What would you say? Like, some people can go for hours and hours, you know, I mean, 6 to 8 hours a day, 10 hours.
You know what's crazy, James? Back when Tekken 5 was out, right? I think this was 5.0. This was before DR. So early 5.0, right after Katrina, I'm in Texas, right, for 2 years.
Right.
And I didn't have nothing to do. I wasn't even working at the time. I was 21. And, so I'm at home bored as hell. So I just like, and I wanted to be better at Tekken. So I'm like, man, like when I play people and they just throw me all day, right? They just keep grabbing me, keep throwing me. I'm like, I need to know how to break throws.
Right.
So I stayed inside for 3 hours. I trained for 3 hours a day for like a couple of months.
Oh, nice.
Seeing the throw animations. Yeah.
Seeing the hands, and you know, just seeing.
Good idea.
And then when I came back to Louisiana, you could ask James, like, they was like, damn, I can't throw you at all. Like, it's, I was like, that's not even a strategy, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it becomes habit, and that's why I'm asking. That's absolutely right. And that's what I'm saying. So something like that, Cuddle. I know you're pretty proficient and at doing a lot of the hard stuff at Tekken and just the meta game itself. Would you say you train more than 5 hours a day, or do you play Tekken every day?
I play Tekken like every other day because I also don't want to burn myself out.
Absolutely.
Because that's the game that I play. That's the game that I breathe, eat, and sleep. And so sometimes I find myself like I enjoy watching it. Or now something I do is I play a whole cast of characters now. And I think that's taught me about timing. So that's something I train in. But I also want to make sure it's enjoyable for me. In a way that like I'm still learning, but I don't feel like it's drudgery because I don't want to fall out of love with it. So I've been picking up all these different characters, and I'm finding that like something that's really important to the game is timing and when you want to decide to attack. It's always the difference between a second and you executing and just doing something right away.
Right.
So like for example, I picked up Ryan Fury. I really like that character a lot.
Love you, girl. I love you.
I just, the way I play him is,
tips.
Honestly, the way I play the character, like that's the thing about Tekken. Your play style, it can translate to any character. I use a lot of orbital for whip punishment, and it's like one of those things, and but it's taught me like he's slower, so I can't just be like, okay, down forward one, maybe, and then do down forward two. His stuff is kind of linear, especially depending on the character. So something I've learned is like I'll wait, and then I'll be like, okay, wait a second. Then I'll do 3+4, and then they'll get counter hit because he's that kind of character where all it takes is one counter hit, right?
Right.
But you really have to pick and choose your spots, and
he's good at that.
Very good. And so I was like, okay, and just picking up like characters like Claudio, where like it's different because you learn, you're like, okay, maybe I'm used to doing certain things because I'm very comfortable. Like, for example, I use Elisa, so it's like, okay, but I know what works here, what works there. But sometimes you get so comfortable with what works, you're not willing to go outside of that. And there's always still room to discover how to play the character, no matter how long you've been playing them. And I'm still learning tons of things. And the only reason why is because I play tons of characters now. So
sometimes you have to get out your comfort zone, right?
And oh God, and it does it. Because I used to only play like two characters, 2, 3, but then I started picking up more and more because it wasn't like I couldn't, but sometimes you're creatures of habit. You like the comfort. Change is hard.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to hours, I say maybe like 4 to 5 playing different characters. And after, or depending on the day, I contribute maybe a day of just long sets.
Right.
With other really good players. And I stream it. And it's really fun. It's very hard, but I always make sure I keep that hyper focus so that I understand what's going on. And if questions need to be answered, I'll be like, okay, well, I'll let everybody know in advance. Hey, my chat can usually answer most of my questions. And because this is focus. This is time.
This is a focus.
Right, exactly.
And you're focusing on the point and pretty much just trying to see what you can learn from that matchup at the time. And basically, in that point, you want to find that focal point to where I'm not going to get frustrated. this is my learning time. This is time for me to dig in.
Exactly. And then that's what it becomes, because it's a learning experience.
Absolutely. And I agree 100%.
Yeah. And even though it's online, I still feel like it's whatever mentality you have will really make all the difference in how you're going to learn. Even though we can't go offline, you can still learn so much. There's so many things I've learned given everything, and I'm like, simply because I have more time and because I pay for my own internet, because I need my own line. You need the own line because this is the job right here.
This is dedication right here.
Absolutely.
But, like legit, like sometimes maybe we'll do 2 hours. Maybe sometimes we'll do 4. Maybe sometimes we'll do 6. Sometimes you look up and you're like, oh shit, it's already been 5 hours. And you're like,
already.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, but you want to always make sure like that time is used in a way like after you're done, maybe you're done playing. Maybe something happened during a couple of matches that you're like, I don't know why I got hit by that. So what I do is after that, I automatically go to practice mode and I start finding my ways around the move for like a couple minutes. Then I get off.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I ain't gonna lie. I play sauced up, you hear me?
Huh?
Nah, like I be like I can't take rank serious, right? Because I use it as a learning tool. I use online as a learning tool, right? So by me not taking it serious is like so I get online, I be drinking, I loosen up, and I just have fun with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look where we live. Cuddle, we are all from Louisiana, so.
Who drinks while they play? How is it possible?
We drink a lot.
I need to learn the strats. I didn't know.
It helps me like loosen up, and I play freely. Like I just don't care. Like now offline is different. Like when I go to tournaments and it's like I'm more focused. You know what I mean? Online it's like I don't give a shit about online. I just get on and just straw shit sometimes. Sometimes I play
learn what you can.
I play solid online. So, but I mean, it's, like I said, it's just a learning tool. Online is just like a learning tool. It's learning different. You know what I mean? That's what it's used for.
Yeah, online is.
I said pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much a learning tool. You know, that's mainly what online is used for. I would say, you know, because you can learn matchups online, but you know, of course you can't do. You have to know you have to almost know your limits. Like, okay, it's very hard to do stop block, you know, online. So that's not something you really can practice as much. You can kind of do it, but you know, basically to me, you're looking at those matchups where you may have inexperiences at, and just grinding those matchups, and that way when you are offline, things are much more familiar.
Right. Yeah. And you'll have the knowledge at least, because I do feel like with online, there's multiple play styles that you're still going against. So
absolutely, you'll
still have to adapt to those. You have to make the best of what we have at the time. You know, whether you take it serious or not, you know, it's up to you. I get it. Me personally, I'm a very serious person when it comes to the game. I have fun, but I am very, very serious about it because I want to absorb everything. Personally, I can't drink and play because then I'm going to get sleepy.
You sound like me now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a lightweight, to be honest. I'm really a lightweight. That's what we do, cranberry juice and vodka.
You know what's crazy? The first time I think I played you on tag, I think you was playing with Alyssa and Lane. So I never really knew who you were truly like. So what character you started playing first?
It's a really good question. It was Xiaoyu first because played Tekken 3. And she was the character like who was released at the time, not Elisa. So then I picked up Elisa in 6 when she debuted, and then I honestly I didn't think I was gonna be an Elisa player in 6 because I couldn't wrap my brain around the concept of the character because I was used to. She played so weird compared to the original Tekken characters. Xiaoyu, you know, she's got like 150 something moves, and you know she moves like a Tekken character.
Absolutely.
But Elisa, I was like, wow, you know, I was like, wow, she's really interesting, but I wanted the challenge. I want the challenge of a limited moveset. And Elisa's moveset is like, at the time, it was like 68 to like 70 moves. And I was like, count me in, you know, but she was fluid with movement. And so it took me months to really understand that character, to find my own pacing with her. I didn't know that I would end up being known more as an Elisa player. But because her move list expanded highly into Tekken 7, I've had so much creative freedom with the character. Yes. I can't complain. Xiaoyu, she got nerfed in a way that
a little bit more shallow, huh?
Yes, and it's odd because the character just switch roles. It's hard, and it's hard.
It's crazy, right? You would never expect that from that.
I really did.
Xiaoyu was a movement queen, you know.
Don't get me started on people getting nerfed and getting buffed and then nerfed next season, buffed.
I don't understand why it's like that. Personally, I don't get it because I'm like, okay, you had a good thing with a lot of these characters. A lot were viable tournament characters, right? Damn near the whole cast. And I'm like, including Fang, rest in peace to that character, because that character was good as hell. But anyway, he was so good. He's so good.
Same way, right?
Yes, and I'm so disappointed because there were so many characters. And I don't know if the balance team is sure where to go. What's the next direction they want to go with balancing? Because there shouldn't be in my opinion, there should never be an obvious top 3 for who's balanced. Or no, sorry, who's the best. I'm sorry. There should not be. Because that limits character diversity. And why in the world would you make tons of characters for the game, but then we're not even using half of them because we're so focused on winning. We should be able to win and use our characters.
Absolutely. Yeah. If I like Gigas because he's huge, I should have some type of advantage I can use with Gigas and win with.
Yes, like Jack does. I don't understand how that happened.
Absolutely.
Jack is such a good tournament character. He has everything.
Everything. What is he missing? And you only need like 4 moves.
Oh, that makes me so mad. Oh my God.
How did you beat me with 3 moves?
This is that down back 1, forward 2, down forward 2. That's it. 4-4-1. That's it.
Absolutely. Here you are with Xiao or Yoshi. You got 1,000 moves, and you're like,
and
1,000 moves, and he killed me with 3.
And that should be like that.
If you watch Anakin play, like if you watch a lot of his tournament matches, bro, he'll dash because I mean we kind of play similar, but he's obviously better. But when he'll dash in, crouch jab, like crouch low jab, back dash. Once he back dash in range 2, if you whip, that's free down for a 2. He could do that all match, and like you can throw him because his defense is good as hell. So if you do that all match, you're gonna beat majority of the people that's at the tournament. That's all you got to do. I didn't win the tournaments and played Jack and got top 8. So I didn't. Trust me, I know exactly how it goes.
It's just a very simple game plan. Yeah.
Go in there with your game plan. 3 moves. That's all you want.
I mean, because the character can do it. I mean, Tekken's all about movement and spacing and being able to place things right. So I know. I mean, Rob has a point. Certain characters are really good at it, but of course, the player that does play a huge role in it too, and knowing that. So yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, come on. Just because Jack is good doesn't mean everybody's using them. But at the same time, if obviously, right, knowing how to use him, he doesn't need much, but yet still effective, right? If you know how to read your opponent as a Jack player, you got it. You are good. And
hell yeah.
Timing is everything, right? A good jump over 2, like.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes that move is magical, though.
I'm mad about that. I mean, it's 14. It's 14, so my characters can punish it with a launcher every time. I'm not complaining.
Thank God, right? Rob, you're pretty magical with that move.
Oh, man.
Dip 2 all day.
Good old 14 frame launchers.
I'm like, wow.
Christ.
Y'all, I don't have no character loyalty. Like,
I know.
After seeing every season change, like the only character I still play is Jack. That's the only, and I've been playing Jack since season 1.
Right.
I still play him, but like as far as like a second character, I guess I'm all over the place. Like it's like if I go to a tournament and I lose with Jack, I'm like, okay, who I pick? I'm gonna pick one of the top 10 characters. I'm gonna pick Leroy, Fakaram.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
You know what I mean? So,
these days, right?
Because they said like a lot of people would say it's unfortunate that you can't pick your mains or have 2 mains and at least choose one as a counter pick. You have to go for one of the top tiers to counter pick. And that's unfortunate because it's like you should be able to pick who you want.
It shouldn't be an uphill battle, right?
Right. And I got to go to Pokemon. Oh, I got to go to Leroy. I hope people don't forget about Safina because she's really good.
She's under the radar. I just want to
throw that out there.
Keep it that way, though. Cuddle. Let's keep
She's
it
better than Elisa. She can step things 1-1-2-1. She can step that, and Miguel and the male characters can step that or whatever. But Elisa can't step it. She can't.
Which is crazy because she has an amazing side step.
I know. She can step it to the left, but it's also inconsistent. Trust me. This is the stuff I lab. This is literally the stuff because when I train people, I'm like, wait. I'm like, hold on. And then we start testing stuff, and we're like, oh, well. Okay, this is busted.
You sound like some of us over here. I mean, I think if we labbed, I think that would be like a 12-hour session.
It's good, because these are all things that will come up.
I'll be honest with you. Those intricacies, they pretty much interest me a lot, too. Like, I'm kind of like you. I remember, just an example, let's use Josie. She has that gelling stance where she does down forward 4 on block into stance into 1, right? The special high. So normally, okay, you have to duck it. You can't like say I'm a buffer low jab. You'll get hit, right? You'll get counter hit.
Exactly.
So certainly, believe it or not, Bob, maybe Zafina, Bob is one of the characters that can actually sidestep all her options to the left. Bob, of all characters.
That's kind of random because
that is very random.
He's bigger and he's taller. How is that possible?
So that's what I mean by labbing. Like me and a friend, we labbed that move for no reason at all, just to find that Bob can actually get away with it.
It's like saying Jack can do it, and Jack can't step worth. Okay, hold on now, because some characters can step. Bigger characters can step better to the right than the left. So.
Yeah. You see, so labbing it pays a bill sometimes. You can. It's that one thing where if you're at a tournament and you're like, oh, he did this move. I remember labbing this. I'm going to step it. But he didn't see it coming, and now he's dead. you know, that's where it pays off for you at. That's where it's going to pay off.
Very specific matchup experience. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, so you know, just another question to implement into what we've been talking about. So, what character do you like better? I mean, which character do you like better as a character, Elisa or Xiaoyu?
Honestly, Elisa, she's more well-rounded.
She's more well-rounded?
Yeah, and it's cool because it's like I came along at a time where I picked them both up when they debuted, so I don't feel bad with picking either or. But I still know that I can pick Elisa and be like, okay, well, I mean, I've been a loyalist since day one. Like I didn't just pick her.
You're not a bandwagon jumper.
I stick to my characters, and I just got fortunate that one of them is really matchup specific, Xiaoyu, but Elisa's well-rounded for 95%, and I've also learned the hard matchups though and found that she has a lot of success with them.
Absolutely.
But yeah. Elisa's
tops. That's your
very well-rounded.
Xiaoyu has to play number 2 backup, right? Yeah,
because her range is I can't play the range game. I can't play the range game with her. But Elisa, if we're talking about for example, really like important stuff to me, being able to punish things with pushback, or at least having things with range that I can use as approach tools.
Right.
I can't. Xiaoyu has such a hard time. Like Xiaoyu versus Bakaram is ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense why it should be. I should, as a Xiaoyu player, struggle so hard. Then if that was the case, then I should have been able to use AOP 1+2 like season 1, and downpour 1 being longer range, and 3 her launcher being safe. If that was the case, then I should be able to have some sort of defense tools. And
absolutely, it's like climbing a mountain.
Yes, and I don't think it should be that hard. I should be able to have fun, be creative, and still be good with a character and not have to struggle. But Elisa, I still feel like I can be very creative, and I just carried all that over to Elisa, and I do so much stuff with her. Like I mentioned earlier, because of her move list is still expanded now. It's funny, Power Crush is. I have a lot of setups with it that. You know, I did on my own, and my use of up forward 3-2, which a lot of people don't use, but I use everything because her move list gives a lot of potential to creativity.
Right.
But yeah, so Elisa, you know, if she wasn't that way, if they had kept her the same, I probably would have stuck with Xiaoyu. But because she kept on getting better and better, I can't complain.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, why would you, right? I mean, hey, they're doing good, but you know, Elisa is one of those top. I think she's one of the top females in the game for sure.
I think so too. I honestly think so too.
I want to ask you something. Say, Dustin, you want to chime in before I answer this? He had some questions too. He wanted to throw out there.
Oh yeah. You had spoke earlier about Shadow and how whenever you would get the chance to go run sessions with him, you would. I was wondering, being involved with the fighting game community for as long as you have, is there anybody that you look up to or you're inspired by?
Anybody I look up to or are inspired by?
Because I know we had spoken to, well, the guys here had spoken to Tasty Steve Pryor in the last episode of our podcast, and he had mentioned how Sukin was one of the people in the community that he had looked up to playing Tekken and being involved, and actually meeting him, he felt starstruck. So
well, now for me, I think it's kind of hard because there's a lot of people that I look up to that have a lot of tenacity when it comes to being good at the game. And not just this game, but you know, the game overall. But there are some people I do respect, and it's not just with Tekken. I just want to throw that out there too. So a couple of people for me would have to be Alicia X-Life. She's the Soul Calibur caster, and she and I are best friends.
Nice.
You know, we met at a time.
That's an amazing show, by the way.
Oh, that show was something. We didn't expect it to be like that, but you know, thank you so much. And
definitely,
you know, she just shows such pride in being a Black woman and embracing her culture and the pride there, but also her love of Soul Calibur and her knowledge and all the dedication she had to get good at commentating, because it's an art. Another player from Mortal Kombat, Scar. I really respect him a lot. I met him at Combo Breaker, and I was sitting in the back. It was last year, and I was like, you know, I feel kind of bummed because I got 9th, and I was like, I was like, I really should have just been a little more confident. Anyway, I'll talk about that later. But I'm sorry. So
that is good.
I was watching him, right? Because I I was sitting in the back watching it live with my friends, all the way in the back, and he won. And I was like, I don't know what it was, but it was nice to see that it wasn't just always Sonic Fox winning, because like Sonic is an amazing, phenomenal player, but
absolutely,
it just shows that like I had heard about Scar before. My friends had talked about him for years, and it was great to just see another like pro like player, a black player, just do it just with such confidence and such just the confidence was just radiating off him, and I respect him so much. I was like, wow, and it made me feel good, and just seeing that, and he just ran. It was so genuine the way he celebrated after he won at Combo Breaker. I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like he's an amazing player. Like actually prior to playing Tekken, I was really hard into playing Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is actually like my favorite fighting game. As much as I love Tekken, which I don't know. I just couldn't get into MK11 because I'm like a super huge loyalist. So my character Ermac not being in the game was like a huge bummer. And but no, Scar is a fantastic player, great person. Unfortunately, I never got to meet him, but I have seen him, in tournaments.
Yeah, like in his, I want to also mention the what also really made me respect him and like look up to him was the mental health that he promotes. He speaks up on it all the time in regards to being a pro player. I think that's really important because people don't always consider the mental part and the stressors.
The part of the game, yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I just want to throw that out there too, because that is such a huge part of the game. And sometimes pro players ourselves, we overlook it, and players in general, we overlook it because we're so busy trying to be the best at what we do.
Absolutely.
That we don't attend to our own health. And how are you supposed to be the best if we're not at our best?
Right, absolutely. Right. And that brings me to another question for you, Cuddle. Mm-hmm. As a female competitor, has that presented any challenges to you?
Yes.
Would you say? What's some of the challenges you say? I mean, not because, we're not on that side. For one, not being pro players, not being a female pro player. We play the game. We do good. But as a female pro player, what's some of the challenges you've come across and getting sponsored and things like that?
Okay. So I'm going to try and speak about this.
Being a black female pro player.
That's perfect. I can cover all those. So okay. I can definitely be very factual with what I've seen and experienced. Right. So being like probably one of the only ones, one out of like 3 pro black female players, it's an experience because there's a lot of people that do support you in what you do, and then there's always those few who think I had it easy in regards to the respect that I get, when in our reality I didn't. It wasn't like that. I started as somebody who wanted to get competitive, and a lot of the time when you're not known in a community, people see you as, well, like, okay, I can beat this person. So the thing is, they realize quite quick, once you fight them, whether you win or lose, that people are no slouches. And then that also includes women. That's one thing. Something that does happen, and this happens to a lot of women in different fields, and I can also even mention the rap community when it comes to women. And it's, there can never be multiple top women for something. They like always have to say it's the one, which I personally do not promote, because that just try to make it seem like it's a competition, or that you have to put women against each other. I don't like that. I always say, they're like, oh, you're the best female player. I'm like, no, I actually just like to play. I'm a top North American player, and I'm a top competitor for a reason. It has been.
You don't believe in the cat fight thing?
No.
She being modest, man. She the best female Tekken player in the world, man.
I mean, I get that a lot too. I get that a lot.
I got that from me, yeah.
It's hard to deny, I mean, but
the point I'm making is I fight men.
Absolutely.
99% of my audience the people I fight are male. So why in the world would I even section myself off when I'm beating men?
Absolutely.
It makes no sense. I am a top player. I'm not a top female player. That makes no sense. I get what you're saying, Doc, but
I gotta give you props on that, Cuddle.
Like real talk. Like men or women, like she's definitely a top player regardless. Definitely.
I get that, but
But you know what, Cuddle? You know what? I'm gonna be honest. You know, coming from Rob, I know he probably meant top female. He's basically saying you're the top of the female and the top of the totem pole. Because let me tell you, when you're, I feel like when I watched you, I saw that I didn't see you as a woman. I saw a competitive nature in you.
That's what I asked for.
The competitive nature. I was like, oh shit, y'all better be ready, right? Because I find that every time I've watched you, it's always been an uphill battle for the other player. You never let anything go. And that's what you work so hard for. And it shows. It definitely shows. I can say in your gameplay, it shows. And any guy to underestimate you would be hard-pressed to find out the truth, to know that, man, this is look, I don't want to play her. Don't put her in my bracket. Don't put the player in my bracket, not her or Cuddle. Don't put Cuddle Core in my bracket. That's what I would say.
Hey, Cuddle, so why you being a female, you ever think like people, like earlier on, you think people like was taking it easy on you because you was a female player, or you would want people to like to go extra hard on you?
Oh right? They beat my ass. Like that's the only way I got better, and they were always really cool with playing me, and that was my whole thing. I remember Naklam from New York when he came and he ended up living in Chicago.
I remember him.
He would play like first to tens with me, and he would show me things, and teach me. My ex. He was also one of my training partners when I like a couple years ago too, and even then he showed me, like, if I had questions, he would show me and he'd be like, well, no, this is negative this is negative that, you want to try this here, try this there, you're doing this a lot, try that. But like nobody ever took anything easy on me ever, and they never put me on a pedestal, because if I'm not good at the game, why should I be like, there's nothing to praise there. Yeah. Like I earned the right to be called one of the best players in Chicago or something at the time or whatever, and my whole thing is like, I don't promote praising women for just existing at a game, like in a game community. Like, oh yeah, these women are good at playing this game, but they don't do well against any of the players. Like, don't make it seem as if they don't know what to do, because there's hella women who know what they're doing. They don't need to be coddled or babied. They know what's up. Like they know what's up, and I respect them for kicking ass just as much as I do. And that's just my whole thing. I
love it. It's true. And I mean, everything you're saying is fact. No cap, like we say out here, right? I'm old school, but I'm gonna say the new stuff. No cap, right?
I like to take credit. I like to take credit for Cuddle getting as good as she is, because me and her we played like at least 1 million matches in tag 2. At least we had to play like 1 million fucking, like it was like a lot of late night grinding matches, like where we just played so many, and I'm so like all over the place with characters, but I think I was playing with Double Kings in tag 2. And I played
random.
Jack, but
so random. Why? I said you should
so random.
put King in your arsenal then too. Shoot, have a third. Boom, be done. Why have 8,000? You could have 3 and just pick. They're all good. All the ones you do.
I will say this for tournaments. I do narrow it down. Like I'm not all over the place when I go to tournaments. Like even at KIT, I think I only play I played Jack and Leroy. That was it.
Just 2, which is good. I respect that, because things can get a little fuzzy on what you punish and stuff if you keep on switching, because of muscle memory.
Absolutely.
In my opinion. Oh, I also wanted to mention the part about being a Black woman in it. I just want to.
Yeah. Elaborate on that for us. Elaborate on that.
So I will say that I have had my struggles with it mentally when I first started getting really good at it. Like in 2017, when I was really like finding my it spot with like how comfortable I was with my playstyle when I competed. I started when I started getting more into like the competitive part, like, and also the social media part, I started seeing things kind of about like some kind of like disrespecting Black women and their look as well. And yeah, I've seen things here and there, and the praising of Asian women, like a fetishizing, which is also unfair to them, by the way. And also kind of like just denouncing that, just like, Black women, we get the side of it where it's like, there's a sexism, and then there's also the racism with it, because racism is definitely something that's still very present in the
very present in today's community,
and things that aren't addressed, by the way, it also in regards to racism, and the Black community is not heard sometimes on those topics, and it's we're getting to, I think a little better, but it's taking way too long. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And so think about it. So just seeing that, me as a Black player and a woman, and things are not being addressed, it started to make me feel very insecure. Like no matter what I did, no matter how I played, the respect wouldn't be there. And I wasn't playing for people's respect. I was playing because I love to compete. But
right.
And your love for the game.
It made me feel insecure. I started doubting how I looked. I started doubting how I wore my hair. I started doubting anything I put on my face. And, I think it really started to get to me. I would break down and cry.
It's very unfair to you because you're just a person like everyone else trying to, get better at what you love doing. Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that,
Thank you. And for a long time, I didn't really get to talk about it. I was playing and, I tried to ignore.
Right.
It's
kind of turned a blind eye to it, but it's very difficult.
I can't because it's everywhere around me. Whether it's in the gaming community and you see advertisements and you don't see women that look like you, or you don't see women in the gaming community in like different positions, being like game designing or like on the Twitch front page or something, and none of them look like you. None of them look like you. Right. And you're like, okay, so then what is my place here? I don't feel comfortable, and I'm like, well. I just kind of thought, no matter what, I want to speak up on things, and I still want to enjoy what I do because I love it. But I also learned having that support network around me that accepted me for who I am and my gameplay and what I do. I felt like then naturally the rest would follow, but always to still be vocal because things won't get changed if you don't. And
absolutely,
but it definitely there were parts that were very hard, and I felt very insecure, and many times where I cried. Okay. And I have to be honest about it because this, like being a pro player, being a Black woman, people are cutthroat, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. It made me feel very uncomfortable.
I think that's something that all of us here can appreciate from you is that you've put in the time and dedication, all the hard work to get where you're at right now, and you've gained such a milestone in the community, and you've become such an exceptional representative of who you are, your race, and everything involving that. And I think we can all agree that, being the type of person you are, you speak really well on all the subjects that you really hold dear to you, and you can represent it well in the position you're at now.
Thank you.
He definitely has I
really appreciate that. It wasn't without its problems because I did find myself like angry originally because I felt like sometimes, like I said, the comparison of women and female players. I'm like, well, honestly, I want to play the game, right?
Right.
I feel like you're in a position to be able to change a lot of things now because
exactly
you wasn't seeing like a lot of Black female, well, I ain't gonna say second players,
but in general,
Black female players in general,
right.
In the fighting game community.
Now by you being like
in the gaming community.
You having people behind you, like with the whole Equinox team, and they by them having you on the forefront, now you able, and you have a lot of fans too, so you got a lot of like support, you got a lot of people behind you, right? So
yes,
now you can actually you could control the narrative of everything. Like,
you can make your voice
definitely
heard.
More control of that. Absolutely.
I definitely. I always think about like my mom always said it's about how you speak on what you want to convey. And so there are times where I'm like, okay, well, my execution is everything. When just like how important it is in Tekken, it's important when I want to give my point. Absolutely. So I always think about it and I always consider it. And if I'm a little heated in the moment, then I step away from it for a second.
Right.
Because I'll find I'm a very passionate person.
Very passionate. We that shines through, and that's actually 100% genuine, and that's something you don't get from a lot of people these days. So having that in the fighting game scene itself it's like a diamond in the rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't feel like I should.
And that's what we need. We need that. We need those type of players to set real examples.
My bad, James. I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
One thing I respect about Cuddle is when I was coming up in Tekken, and I was a so-called good player, right?
Yeah.
And so I go to tournaments and they'll come up to me, man, oh, you Hotboyrob, man, what's up, man? Can I get some games? And kind of like your celebrity in a way in the Tekken world.
Right. Yeah.
But with Cuddle, like she never strays away from playing. It don't matter. Like you could be green rank, you could be just playing the game, just pick the game up. She don't care. She'll play you. You know what I mean? They got people that I know a bunch of people actually that's on the high horse that won't play people because
we're not gonna say names, are we?
Play or you know what I mean? Like, but you can't think like that because it's. I mean, everybody started at some point.
You can learn from everyone.
When I first started, I was doing 10-hit combos. So just imagine.
Same, to be honest, yeah.
I remember those days.
That was an accomplishment when I did that. I was like, yes.
I was doing
10-hit combos.
I mean, just imagine that people never played me, right? So whenever I play people, I play a lot of people that I know that, but I know if I play them a lot of games, right, I'm gonna eventually get them better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. People do. We all start somewhere. That's why I teach people. I don't charge them for it. Not that I won't at some point, but that's when it becomes a more like there's actually like something that we're trying to like build into an official like like that. But on my own, I give people insight and I train them. And I found that it's actually very enriching, because I think it is important that you give back to the community that helped build you.
Right.
And so I definitely always try to do that. Even with the content that I make, so people understand that I always say there's more than one way to defeat or defend against something in this game. And and I know people really complain about Tekken, and I get it, but personally for me, I love 7. I think there's a lot of weird bugs in the game, but I'm like, but there's still 80,000 options to deal with one thing, and that's the beauty of it.
So
that's the diversity of it. So
I'm wondering, speaking onto the subject of, I guess the fighting game community as a whole, and you being in the position that you are, new people coming in, people that have been a part of the community for years now, and on to the positives and the negatives. What improvements or changes do you feel are necessary for the fighting game community moving forward?
Great question. So changes that I think are very necessary are no more of this waiting years to present consequences and get and to throw down the hammer on people, because you have then what happens is people start seeing that you're not checking people for this for like offenses, and what happens is more people think they can get away with it, so then you create this hostile environment, and it doesn't make it welcoming to newcomers, and it's kind of like a repellent for companies to want to work with the FGC if you can't even control what's going on within it. And that's something huge. Like, for example, the fact that LTG and Ceroblast, how long? How long has that been going on? I mean, of course, YouTube is a whole other demon in itself, because YouTube, I don't think really has a soul when it comes to that. They just said, hey, we want the money. And because they have a couple other personalities on there too, who are questionable and controversial. So, that's YouTube as a whole other thing, but the FGC should have addressed him, LTG a while ago. And Sarah Blast, I didn't know any of that until, she said, nigga. And honestly, like that's from a lot of
still cringing.
Yes, a lot of the Black community in the FGC, we were like, that is not your word. Understand your place in regards to using it, and respect us. Do not double down and blame us for the reason why you used it, because there were tons of other people who said, hey, we had Black friends who said nigga, and we weren't Black and we didn't say it.
Absolutely.
So you see my point?
There's no excuse. There's really no excuse.
They knew, absolutely.
And all I'm saying is just, you can be held accountable.
It's like being testing the boundaries.
Exactly. Like, and my whole thing is like, you can be accountable and be like, hey, I made a mistake, but don't double down and try and apologize, then blame somebody else. I don't think it's not sincere. I think people need to learn how to be like, hey, I made a mistake. I was wrong. And people don't have to cancel you. What happens is people cancel you when you double down and your apology is not sincere. So order.
You can tell when somebody's not sincere because it looks like someone made them apologize.
Exactly.
They're like, Jesus, I can't. That's not genuine, and that's not something we need in the fighting game communities.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of the scenario with I don't know if you were familiar with it, but Momokun, and like a lot of the issues that came with her in the cosplay community, but there were a lot of like sexual assaults from her. There was a lot of like racial slurs.
Yes,
there were a lot of threats, and at one point she had gotten on video to apologize, and you could actually tell it was so fake. It was not real, and she didn't mean a single word of it. In fact, I believe she was even laughing in the middle of her apology, and it was just
oh my god, that's ridiculous, bro.
It's upsetting to see people who have such a massive following, because she has so many people that follow her, and this is the type of person people look up to.
Wow.
Yep, and
That's crazy.
and when it's not checked, when people like that aren't checked on things like that, it just festers and it gets worse for years and years and years. And that's something I just feel needs to be changed. There needs to be a code of conduct, like a panel.
Yeah,
and there's people on it.
It's so surprising to me that LTG is like still going on about this type of stuff, and it's just like, oh well, that's just entertainment for
and
him,
it's not entertainment.
And it really is, and there's no excuse for the way that he responds to certain people or talks out on them, and it's upsetting for a lot of people in the community. And it's even more upsetting that a lot of people find this as entertainment
or funny.
Yeah, exactly, something that's humorous when it's really not.
And you know because what he's
gets deep.
Yeah, you know, when I think about it, because I think about my own experiences and the experiences of women that I know, and the harassment women get for just existing in the scene, because that happens all the time. And so it's the fact that he says he gives hate speech. He uses hate speech, and people find that funny. But I really think a lot of people find that funny because, one, they're not truly connected to the scene. They actually aren't truly involved in the scene.
So they don't have any real emotional attachment.
Right. And so they're like, oh, this has to be hilarious. But for the people who are actually within it, who do a lot for it and work within it, whether they're casual players, TOs, rec runners, players, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
They're affected in a different way. But because they really, they're like, oh, you know, they'll say they're members of the FGC. No, you're not. Because you actually don't like keep up with any of this, because you
don't care.
Exactly, and you don't care, but the people who put so much hard time and work into the community, they deserve more than not to be, you know, they don't get heard, and they just let people like him and players as well like him stay, and this could be said about a lot of different things, and stay, or the fact that it takes forever for people to get banned for saying racial slurs, and the fact that people have to make like a whole public display, because other than that, it wouldn't be addressed. That is a shame. But there needs to be change in that way, because then if we don't do that, then we're gonna keep on having less members. It's gonna be a old boys club, and it shouldn't be that way.
And what's upsetting about that is that in all actuality, the FGC is a very small community in the gaming industry.
It is.
In comparison to a lot of other games. League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Overwatch. All these games have a massive following in
Call of Duty.
The FGC.
Yeah, they're huge. The scenes are huge. Right, yes, Call of Duty. Dude.
I had to say Call of Duty because even though it's not as big as some of these other ones, it's still bigger than Tekken, you know?
You're right. No, you're right. True.
You know?
And it's
I wanted to ask you, so look like we're almost at the end of Tekken 7, right?
Yeah.
So would you want a Tekken 8 at this point, or would you want another season of Tekken 7?
Another season of Tekken 7 I think would be fine, but I can also take Tekken 8 too. But I don't know how different the mechanics would be, but either way I'd learn it. Tekken, I think honestly, Tekken 7 season 4 would be great. I'd love that.
People even hinted at like Tekken Tag 3, which first of all, like let me just
no. Oh God.
Oh yes. First of all, Tekken Tag 3 with Ray Johnson, like that's the game would be Tekken Tag 2.
Busted.
Tekken Tag 2 was like when you factor everything in, damage wise, like this, it was out of control.
It was.
And
there was no patch.
No, hell no patch. So Tekken Tag 3 will be totally out of control. So I don't see that coming no time soon.
Yeah, you're right.
I'll probably see like Tekken 8 maybe in the future.
Yeah.
But so Tekken 7 season 4. What characters do you want coming back?
I really wanted
characters that you will want, or there.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I wanted Bruce before Rom. I personally don't care. I don't care much for his design. I don't like his design. He looks really odd. The proportions are odd. Too messy of a design on his face. I think it doesn't seem like a cohesive thought in regards to character design. Bruce was already a cohesive like design already. Black character, by the way. I really liked that he was OP, but he was also this very just powerful, respectful character.
We're talking about Bruce, right?
Yeah, but he was down to earth.
God,
I really like the character. Yes, and he was funny.
He realized, let me tell you, when they did that announcement for Fakaram, can you imagine if Bruce Irving was announced and the lights went dim and you heard his saying, "I'm your worst nightmare"?
I think people would have liked it more. I don't care what anybody. People would have liked that more.
Legendary. Oh my God, that would have been chills.
I didn't even play the character, and I would have loved to see that because I'm like, yo, he's an OG.
Yes.
He's broken, and I would have been. He's good, right? But the thing is, it never felt like it was completely over. Like he was overpowered. Like you had to work for every single thing you had.
Oh yeah, with Bruce, most
in my opinion, worth the damage. He was good, but Rom, I just. I don't
had a
feel
kickboxer, right? You already had a kickboxer. Why replace a legend?
That's what I always wondered.
That's like saying, "Hey, let me replace Jin."
Why? Nobody would do it.
Nobody's gonna replace Jin. Jin's not getting replaced. I mean, what made you think Bruce should be replaced? I'm hoping this is just temporary. It's like, remember that time?
I don't think Bruce is coming back. Obviously,
so.
I wish he would have came back because I started playing Bruce in Tekken 6.
Right.
I kept playing him in Tag 2. I played him and Jack.
Right.
So when he didn't come back, I was disappointed a little bit. I played Bake also in Tekken 6. I played in Tekken 6. So
he'd be nice to come back as well.
Hell yeah.
Roger.
Begdo-san.
He's really good.
Roger could go to hell along with the bear.
I'm telling you. They're gonna bring Roger back.
I know.
Or Alex.
Everyone was annoyed by the kangaroo.
Or Jinpachi. I mean, honestly, I could see him. And you know what? Yeah, I think he'd be a really good addition to Tekken 7 Season 4.
Oh,
he might be OD.
He's very straight to the point.
They got Kanamitsu. They got her.
She could be cool. I mean, put all 4 or 5 of them in the game. I'd be okay. I as long as
they definitely have a lot of characters to make a season 4, but I don't know. I don't know what their plans are. Like, so what are you
hoping? I tell you, I'm hoping they do a rebalance patch. I'm hoping they do a master balance patch because we need it. And I'm hoping they give other characters consideration on saying, why is this character so poor? We need to get this character back into play,
Right, into like some viableness.
and that brings me to my next question for you, Kodo, since we're getting so far into it. Let me ask you, so you've been playing the game a long time. You've been on Season 3. Who would you consider the top 5 characters in the game? Your opinion-wise. Top 5. You might have that already down, but let's see.
Yeah, my top 5. I think they're Akuma, Leroy.
Akuma number 1.
No. I think Leroy.
Leroy number 1. Okay.
Yeah, because he's still really good.
Absolutely.
Leroy, Akuma, Fakaram, Zafina, Devil Jin.
Oh, I like that.
Okay.
Now wait. Now, me and you got the same list except for Devil Jin. Who I had? I had somebody.
I don't remember, but I was definitely interested in hers because.
He's still really good too. He's still.
We had the same list, but I just had Steve. Now Steve is one of them characters where 5.0 he was broken. DR he was super good. Tekken 6 he was super good. Tag he was good.
He doesn't have a bad matchup. It doesn't seem
like he's been good since every Tekken. Like I think even in Tekken 4, I think he was good.
Oh, of course.
So
yeah, that's good to know. I mean, yeah, top five, and I guess just like we were talking about the wish list and whatnot. But if you had to, I guess I also want to ask if you had to give advice to any new player or. What would you say are the top 3 things to work on in Tekken?
My advice
from your training experiences. What are the top 3 things you say you should work on as far as getting better at the game?
Adapting, movement, and punishment.
Okay.
All 3.
Okay, and you find that, would you say that you find the mental game is just as important as the execution in Tekken?
Yes, because execution doesn't matter if you can't even pull it off on someone, if you haven't even learned how to open them up, or you haven't noticed their patterns. You'll just be throwing out things to
hoping they get hit, right?
Yeah, but
right.
if you don't understand how you have to understand how your opponent functions.
And what Cuddle means by adapting, if she do a certain move on you, right? The first 2 rounds, I said first 2 rounds of the match, and you're reacting a certain way to these moves, the third round, she got the knowledge in her head, like, all right, well, you reacted this way to these moves in those 2 rounds, so I'm gonna do this in the third round. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna approach the rest of the rounds like this. So it's like, adapting is like you can't do the same thing to a good player more than once without them adapting to it and making them adjustments. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You're going low a lot the first round. In their mind, they like, all right, well, you went low the whole first round and you won that round, but the second round, you're not gonna win the second round like that. Can't win the second round like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
Changing.
adapting.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, damn, but I tell you what, you guys, Cuddle Core is a pro. I don't care what nobody says, and you are an advocate, Cuddle Core, in the gaming community. Don't ever lose your composure on knowing that, and just knowing that you're making a difference. Like, you know how you keep your confidence? I'm telling you, you are making a difference, and your motivation to me should always be somebody's watching and they know I'm making a difference. So whoever thinks I'm not or thinks that I'm inferior, screw you.
Oh, right.
That should be that's the mentality I would give you as far as adapting, because you're a showcase in itself, and this is for being a competitor, period.
Yeah, because it's honestly about. Oh, sorry. Yes.
I was about to say, let me ask you. So the TWT, right? It was supposed to be in my city, in New Orleans. So would you still want it in New Orleans next year, or would you want it like? Because I feel like they owed us, like, because I don't think TWT was ever in the States, I don't think, before.
No,
it was in California, wasn't it?
Or what was it? I'm talking about like the finals.
Yeah, I thought it was Cali.
Was it in Cali?
I don't think they ever had one in Cali as far as the TWT finals.
Are you sure? Can we check? No, I'm curious.
I might have to look it up. I don't know.
Can we look at all the locations? Because 2017 or 2016 was when TWT was a thing, right?
So, yeah, that's when Saint won the first TWT, right?
I think so. Yes. But where was that? Where was that?
you were there. TWT
2016 and 2017, I was nowhere near those. 2018 and 2019 are the ones I've gone to. No.
Damn.
No.
They gotta put it back in New Orleans, man. They gotta.
I honestly think they should, because it didn't happen this year, so they should do it for next year.
We was ready to party with y'all, man. We was ready to have a good time.
I was excited to go to Louisiana.
The thing is, you already could tell we some very down home, accepting. Yes. We like to have a good time. You're gonna feel like family around us. Mm-hmm. Don't tell little sis nothing. That's how we are. Like, don't tell us nothing. So
Southern hospitality.
I like Southern hospitality. I love the South, honestly. Every time I've gone,
the food is on like a whole nother level.
10 out of 10. I love a good just plate of food. So I love that. I'm excited.
Red beans, gumbo.
I like all those things.
Yes.
And, butter biscuits and fried chicken and greens.
Oh my God!
And with vinegar on them.
Gonna mess up everybody's diet.
I need tons of ham hocks in my greens, because
oh my God! Yes, indeed.
And cornbread and lots of okra. But anyway,
okra. Hold up, girl. We're gonna get you a hat. We can get you a hat.
And I always see, what is it called, the frozen margaritas. Every time I'm a frozen margarita fiend. When I was in Vegas, that's all I drank. So.
What?
I'm gonna need some of that.
That's the good stuff.
So before we get too far into this and it gets to a close, I would like to ask, so where did the name Cuddle Core come from?
Oh, okay. So the name Cuddle Core, there was I used to play Dance Dance Revolution a lot. It's still one of my favorite games, and rhythm games. And so Dance Dance Revolution Supernova, I had Supernova and Supernova 2 and Extreme 2. I had the mat, I had everything. And but the whole thing was like, there was a song from Supernova that was called Murmur Twins. It was one of my favorite songs. I loved it so much. I would listen to the DDR soundtrack while I was doing my homework in like 7th or 8th grade. So I was looking for a new name on PlayStation, because I'm like, the one I had before was like Apolline, and I was like, I don't like this. I need a new one. And I said, but what but what could it be? And then on YouTube, I would listen to Murmur Twins, and it would I listened to the Cuddlecore remix, and I said, Cuddlecore. I said, all right, I'm gonna put that in there. And then ever since then, I was like, holy crap! I didn't know this name would have such a such a meaning later.
That's amazing.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's really really amazing.
I love.
Hey, it fits you now. You are Cuddlecore. That's who you are.
I am, and it's like it's so many parts.
No, I was gonna say it's like a whole other person. It's like it's kind of like the Beyonce thing. What does she call herself? Sasha Fierce.
I think so. Yeah, like that other persona, you know.
So your whole persona, there's Cuddlecore and there's Janelle, but then
yeah,
both of them are cool.
and it's so interesting because it's like I didn't expect any of this. I didn't. I literally made a decision. At the end of my senior year in college, I made a decision to go to E-League. And I think honestly that decision was what changed everything for me in regards to pursuing esports later. And the name really having like a connection. I really understood like this is who I am, like, and embracing that. So definitely I definitely would not change my name. Do I sometimes wish it was a little more like serious? Because the other name I would have gone for was Broken Butterfly, because it was the Magnum gun from Resident Evil 4, and it's one of my favorite guns. Cool. But because I'm like, oh wow, like there's like this very like mysterious ring to the name or whatever. But there's a reason why things happen, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Awesome. I agree. I like Cuddlecore. I like the fact that if you weren't known, when they saw Cuddlecore, it's like, oh, that's cute.
They're like, oh, that's cute.
Destroy him.
No, I'm for real. Yes.
Like, damn, she just killed me like triple perfect, and I quit. So that's kind of, I like that. It's like it's almost like a stealth name. Like, damn, she's about to murder you, bro.
For real. And it's like, but now it's like, oh, it's Cuddles, man. You don't want to, make her mad, because it's like, man, she will, the blood.
You become the dream killer at that point.
and that's my whole thing.
I say you become the dream killer at that point.
I like your play style. Like, you got a super. It kind of reminds me of how I was back in DR. Like, I was kind of overly aggressive, but but you can control a match at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
That kind of explains you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you at times you'll seem over aggressive, but then it's like you still could control everything, control the space, and it's like you can punish like a mug. You know what I mean? So that's I like that.
I've been working on it. I've been really working on it, because it's like but I sometimes did find that I sometimes would go too fast because the heat of everything, I'm like, I want to kill you. but
yeah,
but the thing is, there's like a way to like I feel like I'm still kind of learning when to turn it on and off, so I don't find myself losing matches because I overextended too much and trying to take up my opponent too quick. Because sometimes you have to learn how to really change your timing, like on the drop of a dime. Because like when you're in that high level like gameplay, and people they catch on and they're like, okay, I know she's gonna play hella fast, but like how like especially if they can keep up with me, then that's something I've had to teach myself. And with this lockdown and everything going on, like, it's been so nice, like really breaking that down, like really understanding, like, okay, there's a time and place for me to be like cuddle, and then for me to be like reserved, like, okay, now I'm Janelle, like, and to really go back sometimes and just kind of, you don't want to, and I learned that a lot from Shadow, because it's funny because we're on two different sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, we would love
He's so slow.
Shadow is so chill. Shadow is so chill. We would love. You know what? I've never heard Shadow speak.
You should ask him. When he's
he's cool as hell. I like his persona, man. If you can convince him, I don't know, to one day maybe be on the show.
No, I can talk to him, because
we tell him, hey, look, man, we cool. Actually, we like to chill too. So I've played with Shadow, and he might not remember, but we ran sets at maybe a couple final rounds, one Texas Showdown.
Yes.
So he's cool as hell. Him and his brother, man.
They're really.
We'd interview both of them if they want, at the same time, or just him. But if you could talk to him, that'd be great.
Yes, I can. The thing is, they're very genuine, and they look out for the people in their circle, including
I love that.
Like, I just wanted to, because honestly,
we know he's part of your clique, because he's a silent killer too.
Dude, like we really run. We run quietly.
And I like that. That's humble. You know, you're like, hey, I'm not making a lot of noise, but watch out when we come.
Yeah,
Right.
like we've done so much work at tournaments separately, and when we come together, we're like, oh, hi, like it's just, we're just, he's always there for me no matter what, and he's great. So it's kind of like we learned from each other, and like
absolutely.
So it's like when I said like I play really really fast, it's really taken me months to really slow down, but with his help and like watching how he plays, he's definitely like one of my role models when it comes to like the type of Tekken, parts of like his Tekken that I want to play in that way. So it's, I always feel like I always promote like having a training partner, and that's one of the reasons, because he always like motivates me and he always believes in me, and it's not like there's never any sexism, there's never any like bigotry or anything, like he's
right.
for me,
what I'm
saying? Because if that wasn't the case, I would feel like I'm not welcomed in this community. But like sometimes I feel like it's so easy for me to be like, people fucking suck. Because you see enough stuff, deal with enough negativity, it could be one or two things, but if you hear it enough, you're like, do I really want to deal with this anymore?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It could be a breaking point.
Yes. And so
the good thing about you and Shadow, y'all running it, but you guys are grinding it out and getting some good ass Tekken in.
Yeah. And that's like something we we respect each other and respect others, like because they're good opponents and not because of anything else. And so that's something that like, and I can definitely say, like, even though the Tekken community has its problems too, I sometimes feel like it, like if I was in any other community, I don't know how.
Some of these, and I don't want to talk about anybody, but I know what you're saying.
I don't know, and I'm glad I love Tekken, because I felt very welcomed, and I never felt like I wasn't put like Namco always, like, when it comes to my matches. They'll post my stuff, they never think about, well, there's a woman, I mean there's a black woman, I don't know, like, no,
like they know the PI, I know what you mean, like,
what I'm saying, like, because I don't have the look, I don't have the look or something for that, or but they respect me as a person, and
absolutely,
and I would like to think that that's what's going on, because I mean, anytime I got invited to anything, or like, it was never because I'm the token woman or the token black woman, just because I earned my place. And doesn't mean I've always performed the best. Sometimes I feel like I'm a little nervous, and I'm not gonna lie about that. Being the only woman there, I think sometimes it gets the best of me, and I don't perform as well as I want.
Absolutely, definitely keep your confidence on. And that's your mental health. You talked about that, and it's amazing that you're able to keep that going. I know you said it's very hard sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing you're able to stay on top of it, because I've watched, and I know it's a disappointment when you think you gave your all and you're like, I probably could have done better.
Dude, when I tell you, I man, if I could, oh my God, one of my biggest, can I just talk about it?
No, go ahead. Yes.
One of my, I just want to say like one or two things. Like, one of my biggest disappointments for myself was when I got invited to WSOE.
Right.
And I was the only woman, right? They did a whole like I don't know why they did a reel on me, because I didn't feel comfortable, but I was like, whatever.
Okay.
I was like, I thought it was still a good opportunity. But I went and I played and I got 0-2'd. And I felt like if I didn't, like, and there's 7 of us, 7 or 8 of us, they're some of the best players ever. And did I feel like
Is that the one where Arslan Ash was there?
Yeah, but like he kind of was late because of like some really bad delay.
That's where Jimmy J. Trent had defeated him in one set, right?
Yeah, he did that crazy like what was it, like down 3+4, 2 cancel into the crouching down. I was like, yo, he's cold for it. But was it an honor to be amongst them? Yes. Would I wished I could have performed better? Yes. Was there a ton of pressure on me that I probably put on myself? Yes. And God, did it feel weird, because nobody else looked like me, and I didn't have anybody else there except for my manager, maybe one other person. I love the support, So like, say if I met like any other major, I have everybody and their mom there, and then the support is there, right? But I really do feel like I'm out of my element, and when I felt like out of my element at a place like that.
Like standalone. It's like you're standing alone almost.
Yes, and I was disappointed in my performance? Oh my God, yes. Now there are 10,000 other performances that I've had that are way better. Yes, but that doesn't make me feel, like in that moment you're like, oh my God, and in front of like hundreds of thousands of people, and you're a target because you're Black, you're a target because you're a woman, and that makes it even worse. I can't.
So you felt all that when going in.
Yeah, yes, and afterwards. But it happens, and I have to allow myself to be human. And something I want to just say, because I ended up playing a lot of games with like Lohai and Arslan and Nee, I believe. And they let me like play with them. And like, yet again, they didn't care about anything else. It was,
they wanted to play you. They wanted to play Cuddlecore.
Because I asked them, I said, can I join you guys? Can I like go with you all to where they said, oh my God, yeah, like please, like, and my manager's like, she told Lohai, she's like, make sure she's safe, like make sure she makes it back here.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, I'm on it. Like, that's it. Like,
No doubt, man. They could have had Jen Bing there, the bodyguard, the bouncer.
And they've all been really, really kind, and like they're really like they really just teach the knowledge. Like they're not elitist. Like John Ding, he's like he I think he's one of like the people who just always wants to see me like do well. Like he's just he's really supportive.
He really gives that off.
Like he's really supportive. And he'll be like, oh, why'd you do that here? Right? I'm like, that's a really good idea. And he's just really, he promotes people doing well. And I like that he likes to play serious, but he doesn't take himself too seriously to the point where he doesn't want to have fun with the game. And I just really respect
he doesn't want to stress out with it, which is good. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah. And it's just, when I think about it, do I know that there's shitty people who don't, always think the best when it comes to women in the space, but there's so many good people who make me feel welcome and respect me as a pro player. And I have to, I just want to throw that out there, because it's like, does it feel shitty in the moment when you want to do better and you put that pressure on yourself given your position? Yes. But I have to remember all the support that is there, and to keep that confidence.
I wanted to say, like, playing against Arslan and like some of them Koreans, like Nee and Lohai, because I played Lohai and K Koma, and man, playing Arslan Nash at KIT felt like I ran into a brick wall. Like I'm not even gonna lie, like I played normal players, right, and I'm just busting ass, and I just run into Arslan randomly in winners, and this is before top 8. And I'm like, damn, man, like if I ain't run into Arslan, maybe I could have probably fought him in top 8, in winners. But I mean, you got when you're beating the best, you got to fight the best at some point, So
no, I completely.
How was it playing against like Arslan and like playing against? You say you played against Nee too, right?
Yeah, I played him like 20 plus, 30 plus games.
So how was that experience? Like, was it mind blowing? Or did it help?
No, I didn't find it mind blowing. If anything, it made sense. It's not like I don't see this stuff. I see it all the time. But it was, I never put these players on a pedestal. But it's the thing is, I forgot when it came to role models. Even though, I don't know if it's black or not, I can't remember. But Nee also, I really respect Nee. I always respected how he plays. There's just timing that he has that's really just like off, but like his defense is like top notch, A1.
A1, right? A1.
Yes, and it's one of those things where you're like, for me when I was playing him, I'm like, well, was I surprised by any of it? No, but it was more like I was trying to absorb everything so that I could learn as much as I could from somebody who's overseas and like top 2 players in the world, Take all this in, Cuddles, because you don't know when you're going to have another opportunity, which, actually, I probably will have another opportunity because.
Oh, yeah.
I went to Japan, honestly, and they tried to invite me to Korea. It's just the timing was bad. And there's something going on that weekend. But, yeah, so pretty much I love those experiences. You want to play the best so that you become just as good as they are. Because I feel like
in Japan, you actually did good out there too. I just wanted to say.
Yeah, it was so fun. Everybody was so great. Thank you, by the way. I loved playing. I was tired. My jet lag was really kicking in, but I worked it out. Got the Coca-Cola energy drinks. Shout outs to those. They're delicious.
They're really good over there, right?
Huh?
I said they're really good over there, right?
Yeah. The players.
The players and the energy drink.
yes. And I really loved their community. They were very kind to me. Very talented, very skilled players. Some players that you probably don't see much in tournaments, but they're killers. That's the thing. Like, there's just a huge concentration of great ass Tekken in that country that you're like, shit, like I could fucking play Audimofos all day. Like this is good ass Tekken. Everybody I played, whether it was me 10-0ing them, or like it was like them 10-0. I didn't get 10-0'd by anybody. It was like or they would, they would win 10, but I would be like 10-6 or like 10-7.
Absolutely.
Or maybe 10-4 even. But the thing was that everybody still had something that they knew about their character. They all were like above average, and some were like, so there's above average and there's advanced, and then there's like above that, and a lot of them were advanced. Most of them were advanced. That's what they're called. They were called top players.
Specialists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And I know some of them were like old school players who were still kicking motherfucking ass. I could tell because when I played them, I said, I was like, when I played them, I'm like, you can tell because I felt like my play style was like clashing with theirs, and I'm like,
now you definitely bust their ass. I would have preferred to see you play some of the I guess we want to say the better.
I wanted to, but I don't know why. Like maybe because they live further out. Because Japan's
pretty big.
You have to take like the fucking bus to get like 8 hours into like somewhere, but to get like into another part of the country. So like that might have been
and all that.
And I think that's honestly what happened because like when my teammates Joey and Jotaro went for Evo Japan, I think they were in another like location. So they were able to play like Chicker and I think somebody else. I don't know if they played Pekos. I can't remember. But I would have liked to. That's what I was hoping for as well. So I could play everybody collectively. But, I still got the experience. And
absolutely.
And I still got to play like multiple like and I hadn't even gotten to touch season 3.
Oh.
Wow.
And I was like, and they were calling me Power Crush Girl. Because I use Power Crush. Because like it's my timing on it. On it, the way I use it, and but honestly, I felt nothing bad. I felt like welcomed, and I felt like I learned a lot, and people were so kind, and
So speaking on experiences, that for example, what would you consider to be your most enjoyable moment throughout Tekken?
My most enjoyable moment throughout Tekken was when I realized I had control. I could control myself. I'm like a ricocheting bullet. The way I feel as a person, the way I react sometimes, I feel so many things. And not because I'm a woman. It's because that's who I am.
Right.
And that transfers over to my gameplay. And sometimes initially, like when I started like this whole pro shit, it was sometimes to my disadvantage. And I'm like, I really could have had that. This is not the time for me to be messing up. But what I really think about it, like the moment I realized I had control and then I could tell myself when I wanted to go at Holland, Amsterdam.
Oh, wow.
And I went, and it was the Tekken World Tour Finals. I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
It was in the LCQ. I got 4th, but I had to keep on telling myself, I was like, I have control. And I kept on reminding myself, I'm like, remember, because I had been training with my homeboy, and the way we train is he will watch with me. He will watch my matches. He will, because I can't, this is something for me that I can't, it's hard for me to watch my matches alone. I'm alone with my weaknesses, and it's literally being presented to me like this, and I have to watch them, but it's so much easier with someone who understands you as well, so they can kind of keep you centered. So, because for me, still emotionally, it's still kind of hard, but it's easier now. The only reason I got better and became like pro was because I watched my matches with someone. So when I realized I had control, was definitely, it was one of my best, my like shining moments in realizing like, okay,
I can do this.
Yeah, like I can do this all the time. If and sometimes you might fall short on those things, but like knowing that mentally you can do it because you see it right here, and you're like, oh my god, and I'm not like Josie, but oh my god, I did it. I'm like, right? Because sometimes you don't know. It's
like a defining moment, It's
right.
Like
and that's really what it was for me. Because after that, dude. I mean, some people think it was E-League. I don't think it was. I think E-League was cool. I think it was a nice getaway for me. I think it was a great way to show that, man, I know the Jack matchup really well.
Right.
I mean, my training partner and at the time, and the fact that I played, it was Mac and Joey. I played Mac and Joey all the time. Like, yeah, I would know that. And then I was playing against Joey's geese all the time and GM's geese all the time. I'm like, no shit, I would know. But I think it didn't fully show my variety in regards to how my play style works against other like international talent. So for me, like that across the board kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was when I was like, okay, like that the big one. And ever since then, man, just talking about it makes me miss being at things so much.
I know, right? Goddamn COVID.
Yeah, like I'm happy because I get to really like study where I need to, along with doing the business aspects of esports, which I'm happy about too. But like that question really made me think and reflect. Sometimes I'm really hard on myself, and sometimes I cry. I know I said this like 8,000 times, but I cry sometimes. Like
that's how you gotta
when I'm angry, like at the Tekken World Tour 2019, the one that happened. I was like, shit, like I was so mad. I was like, fuck, because I didn't do as well as I wanted. There's a camera crew that was following me all year.
Right.
And they came to Bangkok as well. They became like family to me. And they documented everything.
Which is cool.
And that's the way it should be, because, as a pro, you ain't gonna win everything. And you're not always gonna,
when you do win, you want that moment captivated.
Right. And they definitely captured all those and the moments where I wasn't winning.
Absolutely.
And so as they were recording after I lost my final match, I almost lost the match to Breadman. I barely beat him. I was like, fuck. The Claudio player, I don't know if you guys know him, but like the one from Korea, I was like,
I heard him. Yes.
He's really fucking good. I almost lost to him. I was like, fuck. I was like, yo, I'm really trying here. And Shadow was with me the whole time. Shout out to Shadow. But okay. But yeah, so what happened was like after I lost, they wanted to have an interview with me. And I'm like, as a professional. But the thing is, they can read a room like nobody's fucking business. And they said, we're going to give you a second. Ain't no thing. I said, okay. I said, all right. So, we go upstairs to where the display for the finals trophy is. And that's where we had the interview. And it was hard because I was fighting back tears.
Right.
The whole time, but they let me feel. And that was the important part. I said I didn't do as well as I wanted. I said I wish I would have done better. And I talked about it. And I said, but sometimes things happen. But you come back stronger. And and having to work through it on camera, but still being honest about it was so eye opening. It was insane. It's all documented, and that's probably something that's gonna release.
That's amazing. That is amazing, bro.
And it was
I'm with you on that. That's breathtaking, honestly.
I was like, oh my god.
You definitely have a lot to your story, and just like we told Steve, I'm pretty cool with Steve, and Steve said he's gonna come back on in the future, and that's us with another episode. We want you to sometime in the future, I guess, at some point, find time to come back on and let us know how you're doing.
I would love to.
Yeah, we don't want to like hold you hostage for like forever.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Oh, I definitely don't feel like I'm being held hostage. I'm having
questions we have for you.
No, that's fine. I just, however many. I don't care. I don't care about that.
I think we definitely need a part 2 of Cuddle Core, man. We go get deeper into it. I mean, anybody got any more questions? I mean, we can make a roundabout. I have one more question.
Go for it.
What's your question?
I got one more question. So, Cuddle, if you were in a tournament in top 8 and you were forced to face an opponent to make it to grand finals, who would you most dread playing against? What would be an opponent you would say? I know you can probably face any opponent. But if you had to say, I'd rather not play this person. It might be the person you know, but I don't know. So you tell us, like, who would you not want to face? Who do you think might have your style down? Or you might say, man, he clashes with me too much. Everything I do, just from your tournament experiences.
I mean, honestly, from tournament experience, I'd have to say Shadow because we play all the time. But at the same time, I'd still say nobody because I'm like, no matter what, like I'm still like to beat that ass. That's the only
savage. Yeah,
like I don't have that type of confidence.
Because I'm like, from me to Shadow to John Ding to Arslan to
give it to you.
Chanel, I don't care. Like that's not my like.
Bring it on.
Shadow, I want you. So Cuddle, I want you to look at the camera and I want you to let them know you want all the smoke.
I want smoke because that's what Tekken's about. We're supposed to fight.
I want all the smoke.
Like that, we're supposed to fight. I'm here to fight. Nobody takes it easy on anybody.
Yeah, definitely. Give me all the smoke.
They give me everything.
We talked about that on the last podcast. We was like, I think the question came up like, who would y'all want to face? Like, if it was a 3v3, 5v5, like state.
So Rob, you got that same question for her? You got a question for her too, right?
Well, I mean, Midwest, Chicago. I mean, they got Midwest, just Midwest in general. They got a lot of solid ass players out there. You know what I mean? So they could really come up with any kind of strong ass top 5. But like I told, I don't know if it was Isco in the last episode. I don't give a fuck who I play. I always had the attitude. I just don't care. Like I would play cutter court the same way I would play knee. I would separate them, right? Because they both play different, but I don't give a fuck attitude as far as like, I don't care if this person is super good. I'm gonna try to defeat them.
That goes back to what Tuttle said. You're not gonna put them on a pedestal.
Right, because like you can still respect them and like study the play style. Because I still respect a lot of.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna try to take their head off. I don't give a fuck.
No, like for real.
No, I was gonna say so. Yeah, I mean, no, I agree. I mean, hey, that's what you want to do. So, I mean, with that, Rob, you have another question for Cuddle before we have to release?
I think we covered a lot. We actually covered like a whole lot. I learned a lot about it that I already didn't know. I knew a lot, but I learned a lot that I didn't know. So that's a lot of people that's gonna see this interview. They already look up to her.
Right.
I mean, they gonna love it. I already know they're gonna love it.
I think so.
And that's one of the biggest things about the podcast that we've started, and I've really realized even in the last episode is that, you know, you see so much of these pro players, you see so much of what's going on in front of the scenes, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know too much about that person's backstory, and it's really great to be able to hear what each individual player has to say, each commentator has to say, and you know, their viewpoints on everything. And I personally thought it was great having you here, to get your insights and just to hear your opinion on everything.
And very informative too. A lot of informative.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Whoever watches it, they go get some tips in the middle. If they watch, as long as they watch all the tidbits, they'll get some tips because you gave some pretty good points out, Cuddle.
Yeah, I try and be
honest. We definitely appreciate you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
They're like, hey, look, we definitely would love to have you back again at some point, you know.
Okay.
And we just really appreciate you. Any closing statements, Cuddle? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, sure. So I definitely I wanted to say, in regards to your brand as a player, what's important is that you do things for you, and that you're not changing or trying to change your brand for others. It's important that, you know, the integrity of your brand stays, you know, the way you want it to. I think so many times people, they're trying to chase this dream of like what what, you know, the ideal pro player looks like, or like, you know, what needs to be done to get to that point. But what makes players and influencers so different just is all the personalities. I think it's important that people, like players, know how to manage their brand so that you're not just playing and playing and playing. If you're trying to be a pro, or if you're trying to be like really deep into esports, you have to make sure you're building your brand as well as playing. Because I personally feel in the climate of the FGC right now, being a player is not enough if you're trying to seek more. So you have to start really like branching out, and sometimes doing things that maybe you aren't comfortable with, like maybe you're not comfortable with public speaking.
Absolutely.
But that's such a huge part of being a pro player, because interviews, and not just that, but like community work, like involving your community, being a welcoming space, sometimes learning how to really use your language on social media, content creation. Sometimes those aspects of being a player are very overlooked. So I advise people to really get ahead of that before, you know, you really decide to be deep into pro playing, so that you're not thrown off when it comes, like, you know, because I know, for example, I've noticed that there are players that, you know, they're really strong. They're great. They're phenomenal players, but their fan base is kind of like weird, like lacking sometimes, because and maybe they don't care about that. I didn't care about it, but like I knew that like social media was like, okay, and like, you know, content creation, yay, like I like talking, like cool. So, but for a lot of them, I don't think they're as educated on it. So I think it'd be great for them to educate themselves. Educate yourself on building your brand as a pro player and a player in general if you want to get further in esports. And really be seeking those opportunities because, and always always be ahead of the game, in my opinion.
Perfect.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. We appreciate that, Cuddle. And shit. I mean, that was a damn good interview, huh, guys?
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed
Absolutely.
it. Thank you so much.
Definitely. I guess we're gonna sign off, man. That's all we really got, huh, Rob?
Yeah, that's we got enough.
We appreciate you. And once again, come back and see us.
Shout out to Cuddle for the fire. That was a fire interview.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for providing such a space. It was like so comfortable to be so honest, and I didn't feel attacked about anything. Very comfortable. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I just want to say that in the future, whenever we do end up at tournaments, I'll be the one badass cosplayer that's at the events.
Yeah, you play so wrong.
Throwing that out.
Oh, wait. Oh my God! That's you!
That's me.
That's the dude who plays Horror, who's also cosplaying. Oh my God, that's so sick! Okay, yeah. I thought that was mad dope when I saw that. I said, yo, that dude mad cool. Like, that's you!
That's me.
The name. That's okay.
Yeah.
You're cool as hell, dude.
That actually reminds me of KIT. I want to say it was about 3 years ago. And being a part of the NRS community, like being an Ermac main, Big D was like my favorite pro player to watch. Like he always made like really, really interesting decisions during matches and stuff like that. So this year at KIT, we go there and it's like one of the last years that MKX was really going to be rolling, on the big screen. And, I was getting ready to really have a good time. And I look at the bracket and my first match, I don't really know who it is, but I noticed that if I won that match, I was going to have to play against Big D. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be crazy. So how it played out, I beat that person. And then I played against Big D on stream while cosplaying as Ermac. So it was like an insane Ermacception going on and I managed to win one match.
Nice! Yo, that's so cool, man.
So it was like a super huge, it was a big deal.
It's amazing.
It was so, and Big D is like, shout out to him, Brian. He is such an amazing individual, very down to earth, very positive person. From
Does he
Florida.
still play?
He does, just not as much. I think he's helping run a family business at the moment. That's
what's up. Okay.
That's what's up, man. Okay. Well, Dustin, bro, you see why our cosplayer is badass, man.
That's so cool. I was like, wait. I'm like, no. Oh, that is so cool. I respect it. That's so cool. The inception, like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Well, yeah, girl. So we out here. We definitely gonna be getting you back on the show. Talk to Shadow for us. Hey, Shadow, man, if you watching with me, we want to get you on the show, bro. I told people you talk loud. They don't want to believe me, but I know you talk loud.
I ain't gonna say talk loud, but he actually talks.
I know. You, I'm just messing with him.
And he'll also be quick to clap back. If you try and test him, he'll get you. Oh my God.
Oh, I know, man. He cool. He like some of the homies I hang with around here sometimes.
He's
so
really cool.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you. And again, we gonna get you on again, girl. And
I'd love to be on.
Rob, we gonna leave it to you, bro, to sign us off.
All right, well, this has been episode 3. Shout out to Cuddle for being our third guest. And we much appreciated.
Most def.
See you on the flip side.
On the flip side.
Bye, everyone.
Match me out.
All right.